personally, I'll talk a little more about the sort of entrepreneurship realm because that's the sort of path that I've realized I enjoy the most. Um, in terms of what I find really nice about entrepreneurship, it's mostly about being able to work on a product and actually having a large impact on it. If you work at Google, you won't be able to, actually have an impact on Google's main algorithm or, the YouTube algorithm or anything like that. You'll probably be working on, a button somewhere on the back end of some platform. Or if you go into quant, you're just, you're making these trading bots, but you're not actually building anything, in my opinion. So for me, entrepreneurship was a chance to just it's almost like just a giant playground where you can just build whatever you want, see how it helps people, see how these things can change the world. I find that very meaningful, and is I think one of the best ways to apply your skills if you're really good at computer science. I think it's also less intimidating than people often think. You can just learn a lot necessarily by you don't have to found your own company, but you can also just do software engineering at a startup. I know a lot of people who didn't go into entrepreneurship because they wanted to be a founder, but they just started doing software engineering at a startup. Actually, as people mention getting internships in CS. I think one of the best ways you can get an internship early on, you're not going to be able to get an internship in big tech as a high schooler for many reasons. I couldn't get a big internship at big tech from a high schooler just because there's things like, they see that you're still multiple years away from graduating. They don't want to take on someone that they have to spend, a whole summer training and then won't have for the whole year. So there's a lot of reasons that big tech won't take you, but startups, they're small teams. They love anyone that can help them out. And if you really want to learn, you can join a startup, not even having the best engineering skills, but if you show up wanting to learn a lot, you will learn a lot. You'll gain a lot by doing software engineering at a startup, and you'll also get experience that you'll see whether or not you really like it. The other things is when you do software engineering for a while at a startup, you also get to see how the founders work, how they raise money, how they think about building product, what it's like to talk to users, what it's like doing sales. You sometimes will get involved in that all the way. So in many ways, if you're doing software engineering at a startup, you do a lot more than just software engineering. You get to try out a lot of different areas, and for a lot of people, that's really cool. And many people who do software engineering at startups very quickly learn all the skills they need to become a founder, and they go on to found their own very successful companies. And then the last point, again, I think it's really cool just to be able to directly influence a tech product. Because if you're doing software engineering, even at a startup with 10 or 20 people, every word you say will actually be taken into account in whatever the company is building. And that's just a really cool thing to see, to be able to, as a high schooler, as a college student, say, I think this should be changed. And then, in a week it's changed, or you yourself are allowed to change it. It's just really nice thing to have. And, even just for the fun of it, I think it's a really cool thing to do.
记得点赞关注哦。